So the project I'm working on is this knife, which was a sword, and it's a deep samurai sword I bought a long time ago. Width of the blade this way is too narrow. Samurai sword should be a lot larger than this. And they ground too much out of it. I couldn't really sharpen it without doing something like that to the blade. It's a bit exaggerated, but that's basically what would happen. So I decided I'm gonna cut this down, turn it into a knife, and possibly use this as a giveaway. That just depends, and I'll get into that at the end of the video. So what I need to do is I need to make a clamp to clamp the knife in so I can grind this back area here straight, which is what I see other knife people do. So in that regard, I've got 2 pieces of steel. These were scrap that I got at the steel supply yard. They have these notches cut out all the way around. So I went ahead and tack welded all the way around. So I've got 2 pieces welded together, clamped in. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna square this off. I'm gonna run the roughing mill both sides. Once that's done, I'm gonna just go ahead and take it and put it straight in the vise here, and then I will finish this edge and that should give me a square block. There will be 4 holes drilled through. 2 of the holes on the bottom plate will be tapped, and they will be tapped so I can clamp down on that blade. And that's all I'm making right now. Okay, so I had to move this to the other side of the table because the power feed was crashing into the DRO rail and I didn't have enough room. And this is really tight on either end because I've got this set up pretty much to work in the middle of the table. This is a used machine, and the issue with these, if you get a new machine, you're supposed to work on either end of the table. You do one job on one end of the table and then you do the next job on the other end of the table, and that way you wear the entire table in evenly. At some point, whatever they were doing in their shop, they just kept doing stuff in the middle of the table, wore the middle of the table out, so the gib is adjusted for the middle of the table, so the ends are really tight. In any case, I got this set up to do conventional cutting based off the suggestions I got in a previous video. So I'll be going this way, and then I'll be bringing the head around and doing this way. And once I have these sides done, that's it. I'll be going back to the vise. I didn't want to undo the vise to do this because the vise is already trimmed in, so that's why I'm going through all this extra trouble here. In any case, once these sides are square, then I'll put it in the vise, and then I'll just square up these 2 sides. Pretty much we'll be done with it. All right, so here we go. Oh, way too fast. I gotta turn the speed down. That's better. So we'll zero out the dial here. We'll go 10 thousandths. I think I can do more than that. I think we can do, let's try 20, see how that goes. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna have to move the camera out of the way so I can switch this over, so I will bring you right back. All right, here we go. All right, gonna be the touch off, gonna do 20 thousandths. Lock the table in. Okay, that's the hard part. So now I got 2 flat surfaces. I can throw it in the vise after this, do the other sides. I still want to leave it tacked up because I want to drill my initial holes, and then I'm going to go ahead and then run another pass to grind those tack welds out so I can separate the blocks. But that looks pretty good. A lot better than what it was. Not too bad. A lot better than that. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be flat. So one of the things, I don't like taking material off from down here because of the amount of pressure it puts. So the higher up, the less leverage is going against us, the less chance I'm going to break it. That's what I was told, that's what I'm going to do. All right, touched off, zeroed out, set that at 20. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. 20 on the spot. So now I've got a square part. So I'm gonna mark it out, I'm gonna put some dye on it, figure out where my holes are gonna go, and then get it set up in here, get it ready to drill. I'll be drilling 4 holes, and then at that point, I will go ahead and I will be milling off all of that. So that will disappear, that will get rid of the weld, that'll open that up. I'll do that all the way around. That's what'll separate it, and then I'll be good to go. I don't know how well you can see that, but this is how much more material is going to have to come off. And then I've got my drill points marked. So I'm going to drill those first, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of the material, separate the two. The drill hole that I'm going to drill first is going to be undersized so that I can properly tap the bottom plate, and then I will re-drill the top plate, the proper size to fit the bolt, and then that's pretty much it. This will be done, and then I will be able to clamp the knife into there and do whatever grinding work I need to do on this end. That's what I see people making. I see them making like maybe thinner, cheaper things, but this is the way I want to go, and we'll see how it works. So I'll be tapping this at 5/16, 18, and that calls for a 1764 or an F drill bit, and this is an F. So this is what I will be drilling my initial hole with in order to tap this out. And then here's my 5/16 tap. I've actually got a couple of these for some reason. So I got my Starrett center finder set. I found my center on there, so all I got to do, drill the hole, loosen the vise up, flip it, clamp it, drill the next hole. I got my stop set up, so I go in the same spot every time, so I can drill 4 holes really quick. So the holes are a tiny bit off. Doesn't matter, this ain't a precision part. I think they're off because this isn't a perfect square. It's a little longer on one end than the other, but that's all right. All I need from this is the flat edge here. I don't need this to be perfectly square. So now all we got to do, I'm going to cut into here. I'm not going to go all the way to these lines. They're just kind of a guide for me to see where I'm at. I do need to go far enough to cut that weld out. And that's all I need to do on there. And then once these are separated, these top holes will get drilled a little larger, and then I'll tap the bottom holes, then I'll be done. So I'm taking off 40 thousandths at a time. Seems like this really likes to dig in at those deeper depths. And if you notice a change in the sound when it got here, it was because of the weld. You can see, you can't see, but I can see where the outline of the weld is. It's a little darker right here than the rest of the metal. And then since this turned out not to be square like I thought it was, I went ahead and marked my wide point. So I want to keep the wide. The blade will be going in this way, so I'll keep my width that way. And I'm only going to face off these two sides. I'm not going to worry about these two sides. I'll just notch these out with the anger grinder, and then that'll be good enough. And then all I got to do is just tap that bottom plate, and we'll be good to go. And if you notice the camera bumping around, that's because the tripod is sitting right over the XY handle, whatever it is, and I'm bumping it when I'm turning the handle. I got the fan going in the background to help blow against these chips so they don't fly out as far. There we go, hitting the weld. And we're past the weld. It's hard to tell if we've gotten past the weld. That was pretty good. I flipped that around and I don't even have to adjust my zero. I'm right on. Okay. 40 thousandths. You can hear that weld. All right, another 40 thousandths. Okay, I can still see that weld in there. I think we'll do another 20 thousandths on that side. Yep. So we're gonna do a finish pass on these two ends by about a 20 thousandths cut. Yep. It's 20 thousandths. All right. And it looks like we got past the weld on that side. Definitely looks like we got past the weld. Now this is the finished side. I'm not going to run the finish mill over these sides, just so I kind of can't get confused on which way I want these to orient when I got a knife in it. I don't know if you can kind of see, that's the weld right there. And there we go. That's what I wanted. Pretty good. So I will mark these so I know which way go together. I don't get them mixed up. Then we'll be ready to tap that, and then they'll be pretty much all done. So I just went ahead and finished it up. Y'all know what tapping and drilling looks like, and it's running out of time, so I just had to get it done. So it's the bottom plate, AB. And I chamfered, depending on which part of the world you're from. And I added T for top, B for bottom. So that way it goes together the same every time. Just like so, and the knife will sit in there like so. So the knife will just sit in there like so, and then it's clamped in. And I at least have something hefty enough to hang on to. A lot of the ones I've seen people make, they're just really narrow or whatever, but it's pretty thick. So that's it. That's all that is. All that work for that little deal right there. There we go. Knife clamp extraordinaire. Thank you.